All right. Well,
I have my pen ready, like I'm about to take notes. I'm ready to start taking notes on all the speed. Oh, Agent Amezcua, you blew up half the city block.
It's high-speed business at a record pace.
You're out of the team.
Get 70 miles per gallon on this smoke. This is ship that made a castle.
Coke rip right at the end.
that's how the new intro ends.
Just a line of Coke to the dome.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome to season 3, Coke ripping, drug dealing, crime fighting, fast ones, coming at you quick to season 3.
Season
We made
trace.
it, and we don't do seasons like other shows where it's like 10 episodes now.
Maybe we will this year.
Like Drive to Survive, 8 episodes a season. No, we do years.
We do years.
This is year 3.
Year 3, and this is episode 71.
Yeah,
Welcome.
I'll be honest. I didn't have a lot of energy until you played the new theme song.
It's jamming.
It is a jam.
It's so good.
Write us. Tell us what you think about the new theme song.
It's the new jam.
Yeah. Oh man, I love it.
I'm so excited about it. I really am.
Yeah, so cool.
It had to be an upgrade.
It had to be an upgrade.
We wouldn't replace it unless it was an upgrade.
Yeah. So, yeah, I get very strong 80s cop movie vibes from it.
Which seems to be super appropriate
Especially
for
the intro.
For our show.
I get a vision of like an alley or a warehouse in New York
Okay.
and like a cop with a gun hiding behind a dumpster, like infiltrating the drug cartel.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
If for some reason, like, there's too much lens flare.
Yeah.
And there's like more, there's more red glow on your face than there currently is.
This is your fault.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying that, I mean, we're trying to match this aesthetic
gotcha.
now. You know, we're trying to get there.
Year 3 is going to have lots of segments about 80s cop movies. Beverly Hills Cop.
Maybe we shouldn't
Turner
call
and Hooch.
Is it confusing that it's year 3, but it's 2024?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
year 4. We just upgraded a year.
Yeah, we just... you know that really smart kid skipped a grade? We skipped a grade.
Skipped a whole
Welcome
season.
to season 4 of Fast Ones. We determined it. Season 3 was 1 episode. It was episode 70.
Well, this is great. We'll start season 3 off with some big news.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I got it. Don't worry, I got it.
Okay.
Season 3, starting off with some big news.
Big news.
It's almost so big that we could jump to season 4.
Right.
I mean, biggest Haas news of the year. Nikita Mazepin has carved out a post F1 career, but hopes to make it back to Formula 1.
Still?
He is tired of the stress of watching Formula 1 on TV, and he is planning on making an F1 comeback. I don't know what bigger Haas news there would be to talk about at this moment in time.
Okay. You're 100% accurate. This is definitely the headline.
This was 19th of December 2023. So he still thinks he can make it to Formula 1.
He's still like, I'm like literally, if you saw my jaw, I think it was actually open.
For real. Yeah, I got you.
This is what, 2 years now?
Yeah.
This will be a third full season without him.
Yeah. Did he end with negative points? He was terrible. And the delusions of thinking he can make it back into the sport.
Right.
Is incredible.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have some things to talk about with Mazepin that has to do with other news. So we'll get there later.
Thinking back, I don't know if you remember, there was an episode where we kind of read Mazepin's farewell letter to Formula 1 and
where
his advice to all the drivers.
Yeah, that was the most unhinged Mazepin moment.
Think of the greats that have left the sport since he did. Vettel, Ricardo did for a little bit.
Right.
They did not leave like epilogues. They just left on top.
Yeah. And Sebastian came back and built some bee huts with the drivers and then went back into the shadows.
Yeah, it's so freaking funny.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest news is that Guenther Steiner has now left Haas.
I feel like we have to start with it.
Yeah, let's stop playing around.
Let's stop pretending.
Yeah, that Mazepin is anything but an idiot.
Then a giant fool.
We'll never actually get a real F1 headline.
Yeah, it was some digging.
That was off of like his dad's blog.
Planet F1, owned by the Mazepins.
But we've been getting lots of messages on Instagram.
Definitely.
A lot of the local people, my friends, what's going on with Haas?
I've had several messages that legitimately read, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Because it is that big of news.
If you follow the Haas chap, I mean, he had similar storylines. People like, are you still going to be a Haas fan?
Right.
It's like Guenther Steiner was such a staple, not only for Haas, but like all of Formula One.
Right.
But we're going to get into it. Because never has a team principal been so missed and
immediately. Right.
Yeah.
And the value that extends beyond team leadership, but also found in spokesman, character, a mascot, if you will, for being flying the banner of American F1.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts? Because there's clearly going to be rants and rampages from my side of the table.
Yeah,
echoing something similar to my Qatar Lewis Hamilton stuff.
Yeah, we've been. You have withheld a lot of like thoughts in the Fast Ones chat and all of our prep for this because you're like, I want to save it for the podcast.
I do.
So you're coming in hot, which is great. My initial reactions was, I was very sad, and I was also very like confused. Guenther's built this team to what it is. It is like his team. It is Gene's owns it. Like it's his name on the paper, but Guenther has been putting in like all of the work.
Right.
And yeah, we came in 10th this season, but we've talked about it on a previous podcast. Go back to season 2. That Haas finished 10th with the highest points of a 10th place finisher in history of Formula One.
Right.
The grid is so competitive and so close. But the year before we finished 7th. Haas isn't like in a bad place. Like it's not an embarrassing place to me.
No.
So it is weird that Guenther was let go. That's about as far as my thoughts extend. I still love Haas. Like I've come to love Kevin and Nico Hülkenberg. And I love an American Formula One team presence in the sport. So I want them to succeed regardless of if Guenther Steiner is there.
Totally.
But it starts to, mainly my thoughts are questions around like why, what does the future look like?
Right.
Is there something else going on behind the scenes?
Totally.
Why would he just be let go? So
yeah, for sure. I think those questions been stirring for everybody a little bit.
And I've been excited to talk to you about it because I know you have good insights. Well, Mike, if you're still new to the podcast, I'll preface this now.
Yeah.
I am more of like a newcomer and Mike has been the longtime fan and he has a wealth of knowledge in his brain. And he also stays up to date on all of it. So
I read about it a lot.
And you just finished Guenther's book?
I did.
And this news came in and I'm dying to hear your thoughts.
I literally finished his book the night before this news broke.
He was keeping his career alive.
It was.
And you should never have finished it.
I'm just going to say that I'm glad that I was able to contribute to the fund of something he actually owns.
Yeah.
So obviously the news took me by surprise. I think everyone felt a little bit. I mean, there was some whispers of it leading up to the news break that something had happened.
Really?
I think I'll keep it real simple and straight to begin with, and we can dive further from there. To kind of echo something you said, the grid has never been closer. It's never been more competitive. Look, the differentiator between Haas Formula One and 9 other teams is one major point.
What is it?
They don't make their car.
Haas is the only one that doesn't make their car.
The only team that doesn't make it themselves.
What is why is Williams different? Who makes
Williams? Builds their car in the Williams factory.
Oh, okay.
AlphaTauri builds their car in Faenza.
And Haas
is building their car at Dallara in Italy. And they do not build it. Dallara is contracted to build their car.
Interesting. Okay. And they're the only ones doing that.
They're the only ones. Haas is also a team that doesn't have access to a wind tunnel that is theirs. They use Ferraris.
They can set their own screensavers and
It doesn't have to be the 3D silver metallic Windows font that's
exactly. That does great things for morale.
It does. Anyways, with that said, very simply, Haas is very different. And the reason that this idea that Guenther took to Gene and said, look, there is a lower barrier of entry if we don't go in and squander all of your money trying to figure out how to build a team in-house.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But if we can kind of spread that out, make it work, build the team, we can build towards something.
Yeah.
Okay. Main point here, the only team that doesn't make their own car has finished 5th in the Constructors' Championship.
Gotcha. Yeah.
At one stage.
At what stage? Yeah.
Also has managed to 7th and a few other positions that weren't last.
Yep. Beating other ones.
And those were in years where last place would finish a minute behind.
Right.
Or more.
Yeah.
Or wouldn't get anywhere near a qualifying time that could get to Q3. We're in a season where everybody is finishing within tenths or seconds at qualifying. It's highly competitive. So again, boiling it back down to something. Haas is easily the ones that are going to be at the biggest disadvantage. They can't tinker and adjust and mold things on the cars themselves. They're kind of relying on other people to do it.
Yeah. And that exterior contract relationship is frustrating.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No matter what, it's never fully in-house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's got to be tough.
You never have full control over it. What was Haas doing? Finishing 5th, finishing 7th, getting results that wasn't last, punching way above their weight.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
They were absolutely blowing people out of the water, which is why the FIA wrote new regulations, because all the other team principals started to get pissed.
Really?
They were like, what do you do? How did this Ferrari customer team show up and get 5th in Constructors? And Dallara's building their car. They're not even building it.
Yeah.
Stuff's askew. So the FIA was like, all right, you're right. We have to stop this. There has to be a more fair playing field for these people who are spending more money. And so they started to write rules to undo what Haas had built.
Crazy. All that aside, and Guenther still was able to do something pretty decent.
They still managed to get results.
Yeah.
And they still managed to innovate new ideas and make things happen.
We didn't finish minutes behind the rest of the grid with 0 points this year.
And the only time that they ever had a season like that was intentional.
Was when we had this amazing driver named Mazepin.
Yeah, the other news headline from December.
Yeah.
For Haas. That was the last time that the car was horrible. And it was intentional.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not going to spend any money on this.
Yeah, as a strategy.
Yeah. So
weird COVID year.
Exactly. So for me, I just have to build that picture before I even get to the Guenther Steiner element.
Nice. Sketched it all out.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Guenther's idea was this. This was, he initially sold Gene on the idea of sourcing materials and not doing everything in-house and building it. The way that the conversation supposedly went down between Gene and Guenther was that Gene said 10th is not good enough. We have to get better results.
Yeah.
And Guenther's answer was, we have to make investments and change the team because of the competitive nature of the sport.
Basically saying, if you want better results amongst all these manufacturers, we kind of need to be a manufacturer.
Right. Like we actually have to be
pull
in
this,
the hunt.
Yeah, we have to pull this like building of the car into our own little house.
Right. If you want to feel like Williams, or you can compete with Williams, you're going to have to do things that Williams has done.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of investment and a lot of reworking.
Yeah.
With that response, Gene says, I think I've invested enough. I don't think we need to do any more. We can get podiums and results with what we have. And the disagreement was great enough that it was like, thank you for all that you've done.
Is that really how it like kind of shaked out in a nutshell?
Supposedly that's the way that it has been presented. Okay. Just as a slight evidence of what Guenther is talking about, Kevin Magnussen was asked about where Haas has been as far as equipment technology spends, because their pit stops have not been consistent. A lot of the times people are like, how are Haas pit stops so bad? And Magnussen said, it's just money. He's like, the equipment is our pit stop equipment, guns, jacks, lights, everything. Our tools are from 2016.
We've talked about that on the podcast before. And it is mind-blowing.
That is... 2016 is a freaking
almost a
millennium.
Decade. It's 8 years. We're coming up.
In F1, that is a very long time ago.
Oh, yeah. How old are Red Bulls?
Just yesterday's?
Yeah, they buy them new every race.
They've made 4 in the time we've been recording this podcast.
That is crazy out of date.
That is a long time ago. And here's the thing, okay?
You can't CNC a new gun for us, Gene.
You can't just whip one of those out of your machines.
Jeez, come on, Gene.
So look, I'm still a little bit shocked that this was the result.
Mm-hmm.
There are other details that I think are definitely left out of that conversation.
Yeah.
But
like the amount of times Guenther said the F word while negotiating with Gene
while talking about
this.
doors.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opinions circulating within the paddock. Funny enough, it just always makes me laugh that like somebody's like Christian Horner or Toto Wolff can be just like so quick to just be like, yeah, like whatever, you know.
Oh yeah, they are not going to admit that Guenther had any sort of weight even close to them.
Right. And Christian was like, I helped push him towards the door of Red Bull. You think I'm surprised? And it's like, that's literally what Christian supposedly said. And I was
they're
like,
playing power moves right now.
Oh, like you guys in your Piranha Club are you're too much sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
But Guenther statistically was the third, obviously, and I don't think in any specific order, but the third most popular team principal. So of the other two, Toto and Christian Horner.
No, 100%.
He was also the third longest running team principal.
Besides Christian and Toto?
Yes. So now the longest standing team principal that isn't Toto or Christian Horner is Mike Crack at Aston Martin.
Like 2 years or a year?
2 seasons.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
A lot of fresh team principals.
There's been so much overhaul. Binotto.
Holy cow.
And Otmar Schaffenauer. There's been a lot of overhaul.
Yeah.
So, and again, so to hear some of these comments was ridiculous. Bernie Eccleston said that Bernie has to make it a personal thing because he just did so much better at running F1 than Liberty Media did.
He loves bringing things back to himself.
Exactly.
That old weird white hair wig wearing man. That hair does not look real.
It's not.
But it's white.
It's because they did it better.
What did he say?
He said, there has never been such a failed team boss who has become a superstar thanks to an American series.
Oh, yeah. He hates it.
In my time, when only performance counted, that never happened.
You didn't let us put a TV series out, Bernie.
Yeah, Bernie. I also want to mention that it went bankrupt with you. It literally almost went belly up.
Yeah, Guenther might have had a few losing seasons, but you had a losing sport.
You literally almost lost it entirely.
You lost all of it.
Crazy man.
What an insane person.
So, but then the last comment that I feel like was revealing is Helmut Marko. But here's the thing: we take with a grain of salt.
No, Darth Marko coming in hot.
Helmut Marko, yeah, exactly. He's quick to say a lot of things he should not.
Darth Helmet.
Yeah. The Lord Helmet. His comment. He said, all I heard was that he wanted to convert his popularity into shares in the team. Owner Gene Haas didn't like that anymore, and Steiner became a victim of his own popularity.
Ooh.
So
what a written paragraph that is.
Beautifully spoken by the haiku writer, Helmut Marko.
It's nuts. I think one thing that I have been thinking about over the weekend with it, Guenther's popularity was crazy. I think we have seen, I am a victim of it, that I came on because of Drive to Survive. Watched it.
Right.
And I love the sport. And now my love for cars has increased. Other motorsport disciplines interest me in things.
Definitely.
And that was because of the two things in Drive to Survive that I liked. Daniel Ricciardo and then Guenther Steiner.
Right.
Those personalities, I'm like, this is so fun.
Yeah.
The racing is great, but these two characters, I'm invested in their lives.
Right.
Guenther's making me laugh, and Daniel Ricciardo's like, this is a cool guy.
Right.
So in my mind, Guenther is responsible for the success of Drive to Survive.
Definitely.
Drive to Survive is responsible for the success of Formula One's popularity around the world.
Right.
Which is responsible for the increase in all motorsport.
And more venues. Yeah.
Everything is exploding.
Right.
And it's all trailing back to Guenther Steiner.
Right.
Not only that, I'm sorry, I'm on a little bit of a tangent.
No, I'm here with it.
But now Netflix is copying that pattern, and they're doing
NASCAR.
full swing. NASCAR, quarterback. They're doing every single sport because it worked for Formula One.
It was brilliant for them.
But none of these have Guenther, and Guenther is responsible for all of that. It is wild. He is a fork in the road in our culture.
Right.
It is crazy.
We'll also say this. The other teams wanted nothing to do with Netflix.
Oh, 100%.
Christian Horner is...
Red Bull's they're different.
Christian Horner sits back in his chair and he's like, you want to put a camera in my face?
Yeah. He's like, great.
Put a camera in my face.
He's like, I already have one here filming my life.
Yeah.
You can use that footage. I've been doing this for years.
Are you here for Jerry or
my
for
wife
me?
is the Spice Girl.
Yeah, let me have you met Jerry? So Christian Horner will do anything to have publicity.
Yeah.
But the only other team that really agreed to this was Haas.
Yeah.
Everybody
you watched
else
that first season.
Yeah, it's like Renault kind of said okay. But like Ferrari, Mercedes, a tiny bit of Williams.
Well, think about it in this way. So Netflix has been making other shows of sports.
Right.
And because Drive to Survive is seen as a success, they are getting the most popular quarterbacks for the quarterback show. Like, what's his bucket? Travis Mahoney.
Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. Mahomes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they call
Guess
his
how
fans
much
that.
we care about football.
Yeah.
We do it for the fans.
Yeah.
We only watch motorsports and wheels.
Yeah.
We don't watch any balls.
We'll talk about touchbacks another time.
This is not a podcast for balls. It's a podcast for wheels.
Look, if a term is if the term touchback is being used, what back are you touching?
We don't like touchbacks and balls.
Yeah.
That's the season 3.
That's
season 3 of the fast ones.
Come in for season 5.
We got rid of the balls. Anyway, Drive to Survive season 1. It is the most underdog, no-name team that no one cares about that gets most of all the episodes.
Right.
Because they're the only ones that
really agreed to participate.
Because they needed anything.
Right.
And now, in the new seasons of Drive to Survive, there's always like 1 or 2 episodes dedicated to Haas.
Right.
If it was now the other way around, like let's say the NFL had started this and blew it up, so now they're doing a Formula One season now.
Right.
They wouldn't even care about Haas.
No.
It'd be Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull.
Right. Exactly. But because it started from the bottom, it was better too.
Yeah.
We all know that as it's progressed into the future, after the adding drama, which didn't work, they decided, oh, well then we'll just do season recap with the best teams.
Yeah.
Which is what I feel like it's been with the occasional Haas episode, which is great.
Yeah.
Because those are always the best ones. Here's where I'm going to go along with exactly what you said.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to build on it a little more. On the reason why I think Guenther Steiner was so freaking important.
Yep.
And why I think he's still so important. And look, as a quick side note, if Formula One fans think this guy's going away, he will never go away.
Oh yeah, dude's a Terminator, dude.
He's the T1000, and all the other team principals are gonna wish that he'd gone away because somehow he's gonna be more powerful without having an alliance.
Yeah, if you strike him down, he will return. He will grow more powerful than you would ever know before. You got season 3, more Star Wars quotes, more Lord of the Rings quotes.
Helmet Marko is Darth Vader, Darth Marko.
Yeah.
And Guenther Steiner's the Emperor.
Exactly.
We're finding some
That was the twist.
You didn't know
You thought he was a Jedi. Actually, season 3, twist opener, Guenther Steiner's a Sith.
He's killing younglings and things are getting heavy.
You thought Mazepin was he killed that youngling. You thought Roman Grosjean's crash was an accident? Guenther Steiner trying to kill the younglings.
Look, the real reason Guenther got laid off is because he knocked up a senator and they were like, you can't be here.
You guys haven't
You're
seen that
supposed to be
scene
celibate.
Of Drive to Survive?
Life.
Have you seen that pit wall footage from when Roman crashes into the wall? Right before then, there's a 2-second clip and Guenther's like, he just goes,
and everyone wondered. Everyone wondered.
The car just right into the wall.
I mean,
how else would you explain Roman going into the wall like that?
And look, the only other time that he's ever made that gesture.
Roman's such a good driver.
Yeah, he never would have done that. He never would have done that. Never.
He's such a good driver.
And the only other time anyone ever saw Guenther make that hand gesture was when Ericsson hit us.
Oh yeah,
and Roman just suddenly crashed behind a safety car all on his own.
If Helmet Marko is the Emperor, then Guenther Steiner is the fan conspiracy theory that Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
You've seen that, right?
Yes.
That's what it is. You go back and look at all the footage, it all makes perfect sense.
It adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You thought he was like this bumbling, goofy guy?
No.
It was all planned.
He's not welcome in his hometown.
Fans are so happy we're covering this.
They're like, will you please get back to the point? Please.
They're screaming at their radio right now.
I'm so sick of this. If I wasn't in traffic, I'd turn it off.
Okay, what were we talking about?
I don't even remember.
You were going to talk about how why Guenther is actually like the best thing for Haas and why he's not going away, or Formula One.
Right.
Yeah, and so, I think I know where you're going with this, and I think it's an amazing kind of point.
The reality of the situation is that why Guenther Steiner became such an icon, became such a star, is definitely his personality, and definitely the way that he ran that team.
Yeah,
and he's definitely not as buttoned up as a Formula One team principal would appear that they would be. Yeah. But I think that something that he changed was that mold. I mean, I think Flavio Briatore probably laid that groundwork for a Guenther to come in and be like, oh, these are how these guys are.
Yeah.
They're a little unhinged. They're a little bit interesting, but they get what they need to done. But the reason that I think that Guenther was so important for Drive to Survive, for Haas, and what really appealed in the sense of that like narrative, that story for me, is that like, and again, like I've been watching since before then.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone knew who Guenther Steiner was as a personality until Drive to Survive really showed us.
Yeah.
What was so, I think, became so apparent to all of us fans is that like the dude's a true blue American. And I think it's really a funny comment to make. And I'm sure that all of our listeners overseas.
You say it and you're like, you can't even do an accent like close to what he sounds like.
I cannot pretend to be
But
Guenther.
It's a good point. Keep going. Yeah.
And our European listeners are probably like, what on earth are you getting
You're
at?
stealing our guy. Yeah.
But he immigrated to the United States with Red Bull and NASCAR and stayed here, built a company, decided that he loved the U.S. And that part of what his dream was then to kind of merge his two loves and to bring the U.S. and Formula One together.
Right.
And to do it in a way that was successful because so many teams that had tried it didn't manage it. So where I think that we all fell under this banner of like Guenther Steiner's the real deal for Haas is that he kind of waved the banner of America in the most patriotic and poetic way.
Of like the American dream.
Of like someone who immigrated here, created something successful and took it back. They were like, went to Europe and was like,
we did something.
I'm here.
Yeah, love it.
On my own accord.
Yeah, 100%.
And I feel like that felt so cool and so epic.
That's probably like the best interpretation of like Guenther and what he stands for.
Right.
And I love that exists from you. Yeah, I'm just saying. I think it's really great.
I mean, I think that the guy deserves credit for more than just innovating what he did in Formula One, because that was incredible all in itself. But the other side of it was actually giving some root to an underdog team from the U.S. that felt like, again, a mascot that actually really well represented the idea. And I think it's a shame. I do think that for Haas, it's a shame.
Yeah.
For the sport, it's a shame. But he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
We will hear from him a lot. Yeah. I'm sure of it.
Another question. We can. Here, I'll open up this email that we received from one of our listeners, and if you want to send in any sort of email to us, fastones.us@gmail.com. Is that it?
That's it.
fastones.us@gmail.com. If it's not, we'll change it. Also, you can go to our website at fastones.us.
And you can also hit us up on Instagram and Twitter. Does Twitter have direct message? Just send us a message.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Tweet
Instagram.
us, do whatever you want.
Okay, this comes in from Blake, and this kind of fits into what we're talking about, so I'll read it now. And he says, first off, thanks for reading my question. Super cool of you. Oh, we've read a question from him before.
Oh, rad.
Oh, yeah,
You're welcome.
I remember
Thank
this
you
guy.
for writing one in.
He says, I've gone full F1 in the meantime, and I've gotten Haas and Guenther gear and got a sim racing setup, so I'm all the way in at this point. That's awesome.
That's dope.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah.
One question, why fire Guenther just to replace him with his number 2? If you're Gene and you're sick of the direction of the team, why hire a guy who's been there every step of the way? Why not hire outside the team if you're going to get rid of our fearless leader and extremely lovable Guenther Steiner? Seems a bit like divorcing your wife and then marrying her sister. Yeah,
that's a great metaphor.
If you're sick of something, don't you go in a completely different direction? I mean, that's a good question. I have thoughts about that.
Totally.
You go.
I would say that Ayao Komatsu, who's now the team principal of Haas, is a engineering background, and that was what Gene has really beat the drum on.
He makes machines that engineer. Yeah. He's a nerd.
And he's been in the sport for a long time. He's worked for several teams, but he has been with Guenther and Gene since they started the team.
Okay.
So he has been a part of the Haas family.
He knows the ropes
from the beginning.
Gotcha. OG.
Yeah. So I think that there's a couple of reasons why that might appeal. First of all, this is going to cause a severe divide within Haas. Because there will be some employees who are going to question the crap out of this decision.
Yeah.
There are going to be some that didn't like Guenther and were like, yeah, he was a dumb TV personality. I'm glad he's gone and we can get down to business.
Yeah.
But what becomes the uniting factor is that Ayao was number 2. And that he understood where they were going and what the plan was. And because of his technical understanding and his background, he can potentially lead the team forward in a direction that is at least with the same process, but make the decisions at the end of the day that might be different from what Guenther did.
We kind of like talked about it before, this idea that why not promote Guenther above a team principal, make him like a Zach Brown character. I'll be honest, I don't know who the McLaren team principal is off the top of my head right now.
Andrea Stella.
Because I assume it's Zach Brown all of the time.
Right.
He's at this track every race. There's way more camera footage of him rather than the team principal.
Right.
And why don't you promote Guenther to something like that? If you don't trust what he's doing on the day-to-day or at the track,
right,
make him like your face and marketing side of the company. And then, let the number 2 step up. And then you have still the same thing on your team.
Right.
You know what I'm going, you get what I'm going at?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Without having
to like get rid of him and have
food processor result by letting go of one of the most famous people in the sport. Basically, again, it's like having, I don't know, it's like having the redhead Wendy for Wendy's. And then just being like, we're going to go a different direction.
Yeah.
But it's almost that ridiculous to me. Where it's like, we're going to have to change the name of the freaking company because it was named after her.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think that in the sense of that Zach Brown type of role, it seems like it would have been a very non-combative and easy move.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, in some ways, it seems as though that was kind of the Mike Elliott move at Mercedes.
Okay.
He was the technical director that got put into chief technical officer and then resigned.
Oh, okay.
He was the one that did the Zero Pod.
We know why he resigned.
Yes. And then James Allison, who had 8 years of dominance, who was chief technical officer, they swapped. Anyways, seems like if you have somebody who's of great power, influence, and knowledge, but you don't want to just stir the pot or grind your team to pieces, that would have been a simple move. So I agree with you. I think that that's a simple solution.
But interesting. Surprise, they just like severed it.
I'm guessing that maybe if there was discussion around shares equity, that would be where that disagreement came in.
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
So, but I mean, as far as choosing Ayao as the successor, I think that it's going to be interesting to see how that goes forward. I don't doubt Ayao's capabilities.
Is Ayao American?
I know he's Japanese by name and heritage.
Yeah.
I don't actually know where he's from.
Yeah.
I haven't done enough research. Maybe I should do that really fast because that would be a good thing.
We're still bitter about the Guenther thing.
We don't want to like Ayao right now.
Yeah.
So Ayao Komatsu, which if you are watching on YouTube, you can see that I Wikipedia'd this. So
hey, Mr. Komatsu.
Information. Also, just so you guys know, Kevin updated Ayao's Wikipedia page.
It's true.
to give him the title of successor as team principal.
More work for Haas than for the fast ones.
This not uncommon for Kevin to have his efforts wrongly placed.
We'll see when he listens to this.
If he does. So Ayao's from Japan, but he moved to the UK in 1995. He worked for BAR, which is British American Racing, eventually became Mercedes, Renault, Lotus, and Haas. So those are the teams that he has worked for.
That's great. We'll have to do a deep dive on him in the future. If we want to like just change little gears.
Yeah.
Still talking about Guenther and possible futures. Do you think there is any reality in Haas selling to Andretti?
Okay. That's a great question.
Is that a full-on gear shift?
It's a loaded question. No, I think it's still on topic.
Gotcha.
So, but let's talk about it. The slot is almost more valuable than the technology, the team itself, anything. It's just that Andretti cannot even get their foot in the door to be the 11th team.
Yeah. Little side note, Gene's unhappy about finishing 10th, but he has to be happy about his F1 team like increasing his investment by like 500%.
I mean, there's a number of things I feel like he can be grateful for,
which is wild.
Yeah, but like I agree, it's like the return on this idea that was presented to you. It's like, yes, it has taken money to get there, but this is a substantial increase.
A pretty penny now that people want.
Yeah, and so the real estate of the one of the 10 teams is a high dollar, even, and can be as inflated as the person desires.
Oh yeah, whatever you can get people to buy it is what it's worth.
The Mercedes team might be worth $1 billion, $2 billion, but Toto Wolff could go to somebody and be like, "It's $20 billion. You want my spot? That's what it's going to take to buy me out."
It comes with Almave.
It comes.
Lewis's non-alcoholic tequila brand. And then they buy it. They buy it right there.
Every time you say that, I fear that our listeners are less cultured. That they don't know that it could be Almave. And I still haven't even looked into it. Almave, but I would assume.
So yeah, people will pay whatever they say.
It's one of those things, right? But supply and demand.
Supply and demand, yeah.
Supply and demand is a simple principle.
Yeah.
It can have an EBITDA and all these things what investors want to know when they invest in a company, but there are only 10 spots that the FIA has approved to race in Formula One.
Yep.
And Gene Haas has one of them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And he's disappointed with his investment. And he wants to move forward with me looking a little shady eye at that at that statement. Because that's one way to not have your entire team quit.
Yeah.
Is by saying, we want to move forward, not backwards.
Can you imagine owning a Lamborghini like Miura? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
And being like, we need to put a wing on the back of this.
Right.
It's like, no, your car's worth $1 billion.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, but I want to.
Can we put flames on it?
It would be sick. I want it to look like Lightning McQueen.
Can we put a Pioneer radio in it?
Can we throw? I want one of those alarms that like does the into like 6 tones. I want one of those. Can you put that on there?
Yeah.
So yes, the team as it's valued right now is substantially more than what he paid.
Yeah.
Than what he's probably invested and earned back.
Yeah. You think Andretti and Cadillac can buy it?
Well, here's where I think that I mean, obviously that conversation has probably happened 15 times since Guenther was let go.
Yeah, you know.
Michael is blowing that phone up. You know that he's unrelenting with this.
Cadillac?
Andretti.
Okay, gotcha.
And so I see this as you have invested in the team. You landed a primary spot on Netflix's TV show that catapulted the sport into pop culture. You are a name cemented in Formula One history because of Guenther Steiner, because of Romain Grosjean's fiery crash, because of all that has happened in the time that you have been in the sport.
Yeah.
The price tag for one of these teams may not increase from here. This might be peak market for Formula One.
Crazy.
And at this stage, you look at it and you go, what is my biggest hurdle in selling my Formula One team to somebody else? Well, they got to like Guenther Steiner because he's a loudmouth mascot for Haas Automation.
So you're thinking like, what? We get rid of Guenther, becomes easier to sell this team?
In a very, very simple way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dang.
I also don't think that Guenther's good at keeping secrets. So if that was going to be the case, might not be a good guy to keep around.
Yeah.
If you're planning on getting rid of your team and he's a key factor in that decision making.
Yeah.
In addition to that, it just seems like it's also the most passionate member of that company who's got your phone number, who's going to disagree with you if he doesn't agree with you and call you and be like, don't sell the team. Don't sell the team. What are you doing? We built this.
Yeah.
We can do this. And so cutting ties seems like that really makes this a lot less emotional and a lot of financial sense.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people who write for Formula One and have analyzed this have arrived at a very similar conclusion.
Really?
That there wouldn't be really a better time to maybe cash out.
Dang. Yeah.
Now
it's the height of the market for real.
And now where I kind of feel like we have aligned ourselves with Haas.
Yeah.
And in some ways I look at the Andretti's with a little bit of a shifty eye of like, can I support you?
Yeah.
I have fears.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't know if I necessarily want this, but I'm saying that it's a pretty logical move.
Yeah. That makes sense. They're American. We're American. This is America's Formula One podcast.
Right.
No balls. Full wheels.
Balls.
Footballs.
Oh, that's right.
Basketballs.
We don't talk about pig skins.
Baseballs.
We don't talk about them piggy skins.
Right. Sometimes Dodgers.
But here's the funny part of this, right? Who would you say is the most famous American in Formula One history?
See, I don't know. Guenther and Andretti.
Prior to Guenther would be Andretti.
Yeah.
And Mario Andretti was an Italian immigrant to the U.S. who then called himself American and drove F1 cars as a U.S. representative. And I think that once again just kind of poetically and beautifully puts Guenther into the same category.
Interesting, yeah.
Of that same...
A lot of parallels.
Flying that same banner of the immigrated to U.S. to kind of prove a point back to the Europeans. So anyways, I just think that's a funny parallel.
It is a funny parallel. So all in all, it was crazy news, and it'll be interesting to see how the Haas F1 team shakes out in the preseason before the races start, and then it'll be interesting to see the upcoming year what happens.
Definitely,
I'm still here for America's Formula One team. I'm still thinking that Kevin Magnussen is cool. Nico Hülkenberg is cool. I want to see Nico get on that podium.
Totally,
that'd be great. They're still one of my top teams.
There's no giving up on this now.
Yeah,
for sure. And I feel like, we have made connections to real life people within Haas, being the Fast Ones in the Haas Boys podcast.
Yeah,
and even in the way that it is, Henry Wallace is one of them.
Yeah.
And I feel like we can't betray the friendship to Henry to these connections of people that we know and love from the Haas team. And we've got to hope the best for them moving forward. But do I have strong feelings about it? Of course.
Of course.
And I hope that they do too.
Of course.
And we are all entitled to them.
Well, shifting gears.
Yes.
We should talk about the motorsports that have happened.
Yes.
In between in the off season.
Yeah.
So there's a few things. We don't need to talk a lot about them, but like the Dakar rally's happening right now.
Right.
That's pretty fun to watch and see highlights on.
I love that on YouTube.
Daytona, 24 hours
coming
of
up.
The Rolexes is happening at the end of this month.
Yes.
And then I went to some cool motorsports.
Yes.
We could talk and dive into those.
Yes.
Because if you're feeling that you need some, then now's the time.
I feel like there's one other thing we can add to this list.
And what is it?
We saw a movie.
Oh, and movie reviews.
I want to say 2 movies.
We saw Ferrari.
Yes.
And what was the other movie we saw?
The other movie is on Netflix, but Gran Turismo, which I finally saw.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Yeah, let's go into it. So, the off season, the motorsport. My hat is a little bit dirty. little bit thin layer of dirt because I went to freaking Monster Jam.
Oh, yeah.
And just a quick review of Monster Jam. If you didn't know, made in America. They literally came out and like did like the national anthem. They're like, made in America. And me and my brother-in-law were like, where else would this have been made?
Why do you feel the need to represent
we
that?
Know.
Yeah, we're aware.
This is the most American thing in the world.
Yeah.
Me and my family went and it was amazing.
Yeah.
I'd never been to a Monster Jam before. They're cheap. I would go to one.
They're so fun.
And yeah, those trucks are big.
They're gnarly, dude.
Yeah. The highlight of the night, Gravedigger won.
Nice.
You know this. I think it's like a Formula One thing where they go to every city. They are always competing at the end of their season. They have a points that they'll add up to a champion.
Right.
The night that we were there, Gravedigger won.
Mm-hmm.
He went and took his skull flag off the back of his truck and then ran over and threw it up to my little like 6-year-old nephew.
Amazing.
And he lost his mind. He had a little Gravedigger truck and was like all night long. Gravedigger was waving at him.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That'll make him a monster truck driver later on.
For sure.
That's
something
been
to
my
aspire
motorsport,
to.
That I went to. Let's get into our movies. We went and saw Ferrari together.
Yes. Do you want me to review it?
Well, because I could review it by comparing it to Gran Turismo, but let's hear your review. What's your quick review?
I mean, it's similar probably, but
Yeah.
I will keep it short. At times, the graphics were comical. I feel like when they cut to like Enzo driving in black and white, I was like, is this Snoopy on the doghouse? Like the Red Baron?
That is a vibe.
It
Red Baron, Snoopy
felt
vibes.
very Red Baron. And I just immediately was like, you know, if we had to, even I don't condone these, but if there had to be one of those real life and live action makes of Peanuts, I don't know.
Adam Driver's a great Snoopy.
Might be a great Snoopy. So, but I'll be honest, it was not what I expected.
It's not what I expected either.
Yeah.
It was definitely more of like, here's some drama that happened with Enzo Ferrari.
Uh-huh.
And I think the tones between Gran Turismo, which came out a while ago.
Right.
But if you watch Gran Turismo and you watch Ferrari, in my opinion, I left Gran Turismo I left Ferrari not wanting to own a Ferrari or drive a Ferrari or even race in a race.
Or fly the flag of Ferrari for any kind of like emotional tie or heritage reason.
But I leave Gran Turismo. I want to drive a Nissan.
Right.
I want to get in Gran Turismo Simulator.
Yeah, exactly.
And I want to go to Le Mans and root for Nissan.
Right. It like
that was the difference between the movies for me.
Yeah, totally. You're like, I align with this.
I want to go drive something,
and then
it's tangible.
And you leave Ferrari, and you're like, man, Penelope Cruz, is she Italian?
Yeah, I don't know, but
because I freaking believed every second of that.
She was great, but
I don't know anything else that I saw. For 2+ hours.
Yeah.
So, but Gran Turismo is great.
Mm-hmm.
I very much enjoyed the movie. There's definitely elements of
That's our recommendation.
Yeah.
Gran Turismo.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid.
It's like a prequel to Stranger Things because Dennis Hopper's in it.
Yeah. It happens.
Dennis Hopper.
Hopper.
The actor.
I was
the
like...
other actor, Dennis Hopper. What's his name in Stranger Things?
Officer Hopper.
Officer Hopper. I don't know his first name.
Jim Hopper.
Jim Hopper.
I think.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Go see it.
It is. Go watch it.
Yeah, it's a true story.
I mean, and they did a good job of
a really good job.
It's cheesy at times, but let's talk about a movie that was executed well.
Mm.
And there was little things that as a Gran Turismo fan, like I played the games as a kid, that like when they would go to that like behind the car perspective or throw like numbers over the car.
Yeah.
And they would do video game things in a movie that I was like, well, that was an interesting decision. And I dig that.
Yeah.
Even though it's kind of breaking a wall that I'm not necessarily wanting them to break. In a way, it still was like, oh, well, I relate to this.
Yeah.
I've seen that perspective a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
You know?
It makes you super excited and nostalgic. And
for sure.
All at the same time. It's fun.
Yeah.
Lastly.
Yes.
You and I are going to go to the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona.
Yes, that is big news.
We are stoked.
I Cannot wait. I'm so jazzed.
We're going to get in those pits.
Yeah. If we're going to get right in the pits.
Yeah. We're going for Brad Pitts.
Brad is going to be
He's
there.
going to be there. We're going to get him.
And we found that out after we bought tickets.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, Bradley Pitts is going to be there in the pits.
So if you're going to be at 24 Hours of Daytona,
say hi.
Yeah. Hit us up. We'll come say hi.
We'll be there.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
And we're going to, you guys know that we're tracking down the Phoenix because Romain Grosjean is racing for
he is.
Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Along with Daniel Kvyat. Jensen Button will be racing for Acura.
Cool.
And who else is going to be there? I feel like there was so many names, so many good names.
Who's the guy? Felipe Massa?
I don't think so. Was he? Let's see.
I thought I saw his name on one of the drivers.
Whoa! Felipe Massa's driving the Rolex 24. It's not a hypercar, I don't think. Oh, LMP2, which is so hypercar is the top series.
Okay,
and those are the main prototype cars. It's so cool, Max.
I'm very excited.
And then the LMP2 is like they're a spec series that is a prototype car, but they're all the same.
Cool.
And so that's what Massa will be driving. Yeah. But it's cool. I didn't know that he was going to be there.
Cool. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be
But I feel like the list just keeps getting bigger. But one of the reasons that this is exciting is a couple of things, and I will give that just the briefest version of it.
Yep.
It's year 2 of the hypercar class. We talked about hypercar being introduced last season for World Endurance Championship and for IMSA. It's year 2. BMW, Porsche, Cadillac, Acura, and Lamborghini are our competitors. This is Lamborghini's first season, but the rest of these guys are now year 2 in the class.
Cool.
And so like I expect Porsche to come out swinging. Porsche got off to a little bit of a late start in the year and then was really dominant throughout the season.
Yeah.
And so I am really anxious to see what they pull out of that thing for Daytona this year.
Why is Giovinazzi not racing? He won Le Mans.
Ferrari is not competing in IMSA.
I saw them on the list.
If they are, Ferrari will be competing in the GT classes. So like with like
not the what class would it be?
Not the hyper class, yeah.
Dang, I was hoping to see Antonio Giovinazzi.
I know. Gio. All right, but we have a question.
We do have a question, and it's great that we can start off year 3 with a question from Sam.
The one and only.
This one comes with a picture. So he says, "Hey, fast ones. He's already off on a rant. My biggest gripe with Mercedes, is the fuel gauge." So he's not talking about Formula 1.
Oh, this is just a car thing. Okay.
So he's in a Mercedes. What symbol is the one on the right? A 1 or a 7? Either way, why not just be normal? Please help me understand what I'm looking at here. And what he's given me is a symbol of the fuel gauge, and maybe we'll put this up. I don't know how you'll do it.
Yeah, I can superimpose it.
So you can see the fuel. So what I'm showing that. So you can imagine it if you're listening. You have a fuel gauge, and usually at the bottom to the top, you can see like, empty to full.
Right.
The empty side is the number 0. The full is the number 1.
Definitely
or
a
7.
1. It's definitely a 1.
But that is how they're talking about their fuel.
Right.
And his question is, what is going on? Mike knows cars. Why would you put empty at 0, full at 1? Why not just do E or F or?
So that would be normal.
That would be normal. Yeah.
There was also a logo. I want you to pull that picture back up for 1 second.
There's an AMG.
And that makes it a different Mercedes.
Okay, so there's the big AMG.
This is the Motorsport.
The Australian Motor Group.
Austrians and Germans just officially made you on the hit list. That's the most.
I do know it's not.
I won't even try to salvage this because I cannot pronounce the names.
It's a difficult
of
one.
AMG, but AMG is the motorsport division of Mercedes.
Yep, they're
they used to be their own independent company, as a little backstory.
Yeah.
And then were absorbed at some stage into Mercedes.
And they were robots and did everything in binary.
And they do so, but they are engineering guys. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you say based on the notches of a fuel gauge? What is in the tank?
Gas.
Okay, so but if you're at half, do you say half tank?
Oh my gosh.
Do you say quarter tank?
It's a half a tank.
Do you say 3/4 tank?
Yeah.
So what is a full tank?
oh, it's a 1.
And everything else is a decimal down to 0.
Oh my gosh, that makes sense. But what nerdery?
It is nerdy. It is nerdy, but I'm just going to say that immediately as soon as I saw it, I already had the answer to why that would be.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I want Sam to send us in more car things.
Yes, please do.
Because he has a job where he does get to experience a lot of nice cars.
He gets behind the wheel of a few machines.
Yeah, he has a brand new, I think it's a 2024 Aston Martin that he's been like driving around, and he has some large complaints about Aston Martin.
It's a very interesting commentary.
I'll let you know a little
surrounding.
bit. One time starting an Aston Martin, it's a push to start.
Yes.
He pushes the start button and it just sinks into the dashboard and drops into the interior of the dashboard. And it was just a hole.
You can't,
Aston Martin.
You can't pay for that kind of luxury, man. That is pinnacle engineering.
Yeah.
British styling and functionality.
Uh-huh.
I drive a Land Rover, so I can sympathize for certain things that should behave very differently than they do.
You just keep pushing. It just keeps going.
Like, where did that go? Did the car start?
Thanks, Sam, for sending the question. Thanks, Blake, for sending your question.
Yes.
If you want to send us questions, Instagram, follow us, send us questions, or email us, fastones.us@gmail.com.
Definitely.
But in the meantime, follow us on YouTube. We put these episodes out so you can watch them.
Yeah.
Subscribe to us on YouTube or on Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Review us, like us, share us. It's going to be a great season. We do have some amazing things coming up.
In the pipeline.
Folks, and
I know you probably don't believe me from that side. But man, there's some good things coming, so stay tuned.
We took a break over the holiday season, and it's been worth it. We've been cooking some things behind the scenes, and it's just really great.
It's going to be epic stuff.
We are excited for season 3, 2024.
Season 324
of the Fast Ones.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See you next week.
My wife is a Spice Girl.
Have you met Jerry?